The first thing Lyra felt was pain, sharp, burning, and absolute. The second thing was the weight of dozens of eyes upon her. She forced her eyelids open, vision blurring before slowly focusing on the chamber around her. Crystalline walls refracted amber light in geometric patterns. The air tasted metallic, recycled through systems far more advanced than anything humanity had yet produced. And surrounding her medical platform stood the Council's 7 towering figures, each representing a species that had hunted, killed, and conquered their way to the stars. Council Elder Varkos stood closest, his 4 eyes unblinking, his chitinous plates reflecting the chamber's glow. The Krethian was massive, easily 3 meters tall, with mandibles that could crush bone and talons designed for rending flesh. Behind him, the other council members formed a semicircle of evolutionary nightmares. The serpentine Sarathi with their hypnotic hood displays, the wolf-like Fenraki with their pack-hunting intelligence, the mantis-form Klaxi, whose reflexes could snatch bullets from the air. Every species in this chamber had evolved as apex predators. Every one of them had instincts honed by millions of years of kill or be killed survival. And every one of them was staring at Lyra with something she couldn't quite identify in their alien expressions. "The human awakens," Varkos rumbled, his translator rendering his clicks and whistles into flat, emotionless standard. "We did not expect this so soon. Your species' recovery capabilities continue to surprise us." Lyra tried to sit up, but her body screamed in protest. She looked down and saw the regeneration mesh covering her torso. Tiny medical nanites still knitting torn tissue and repairing internal damage. The memories crashed back like a second explosion. The colony ship, the engine malfunction, the evacuation of the Fenraki family, mother and 3 cubs who'd been visiting the human engineering section, the bulkhead failure, the shrapnel storm, the cubs' terrified squeals. Her decision had taken less than a heartbeat. While the Fenraki mother had frozen in evolutionary confusion, her predator brain, unable to process self-sacrifice as anything but weakness. Lyra had thrown herself over the cubs, her body becoming their shield. She remembered the white-hot agony as metal fragments tore through her. Remembered the warm weight of the cubs beneath her. Remembered thinking this was a stupid way to die. But the cubs had lived. "The cubs," Lyra croaked, her throat raw. "Are they unharmed?" Varkos interrupted. "Completely unharmed. Because of you." He leaned closer, and Lyra fought every human instinct that screamed at her to flinch away from those mandibles. "We have seen the security footage 47 times. We have analyzed every microsecond. And we have one question. Human Lyra. Why?" "Why?" Lyra repeated, confused. "Why did you shield the cubs?" The Sarathi council member swayed forward, hood flaring in agitation. "You are not their pack. You share no genetic material. They are not even your species. In that moment, your primitive hindbrain should have screamed at you to flee, to preserve your own genetic legacy. Yet you moved toward danger. You chose certain injury, probable death to protect offspring that mean nothing to your evolutionary success." "They're children," Lyra said simply. The chamber fell silent. "Children," Varkos repeated slowly, as if testing an alien concept. "You humans use this word often, as if it means something universal." "It does." Lyra managed to prop herself up on her elbows, ignoring the protests from her healing wounds. "A child is a child. Species doesn't matter. They're small, they're vulnerable, they need protection. That's not complicated, but it is unprecedented." The Klaxi representative clicked. "In all our species, we protect our own young through genetic imperative. We may extend this to pack members, to those who share our DNA, to those who might provide reciprocal benefit. But you protected cubs, who cannot possibly repay this debt, whose species has been our rival for resources, who represent a competing genetic line. The logic fails." "It's not about logic," Lyra shot back, heat rising in her voice despite her exhaustion. "It's about being decent, about doing what's right. Right." Varkos tasted the word. Another human concept. We have studied your species for 3 years, since first contact. We have analyzed your literature, your history, your cultural evolution, and we find the same pattern repeated across every human civilization. You protect your young, yes, but you also protect others' young. You adopt orphans from different tribes. You risk yourselves for children you've never met. You create systems, laws, customs, instincts that prioritize the vulnerable, regardless of genetic benefit. He gestured with one taloned hand at the medical display showing Lyra's injuries. You took 17 pieces of shrapnel. 3 perforated your liver. 1 collapsed your lung. 2 more missed your heart by millimeters. You should have died, Lyra, and your genes would have died with you, for 3 Fenraki cubs who will grow up to compete with your species for colony worlds and resources. So? Lyra met his four-eyed gaze without flinching. They're still alive. That's what matters. Lyra. 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 The council members exchanged glances, mandibles clicking, hoods flaring, tails swishing, a symphony of alien body language that Lyra couldn't hope to interpret. Finally, Varkos spoke again. And there was something new in his translated voice. Something that might have been awe. Or fear. The human homeworld is remarkable, he said quietly. A death world by any measure. Extreme weather. Mega predators. Diseases that adapt faster than most species can evolve. Natural disasters that would shatter lesser civilizations. Your species should have stayed small, stayed cautious, stayed cruel to survive. Instead, you became the galaxy's only apex predator that protects everyone's young. The only species that looks at a child, any child, and sees something worth dying for. We call it humanity, Lyra whispered. We have another name for it. The Sarathi said softly. We call it terrifying. Varkos nodded slowly. Every species in this council has conquered worlds. We have hunted. We have killed. We have survived by being the strongest, the fastest, the most ruthless. And now we face a species that survived their death world not through fangs or venom or armor, but through the radical, illogical, evolutionarily absurd decision to protect the weak, to guard the vulnerable, to sacrifice the self for the other. He turned to face the full council. The Fenraki mother has requested to speak. Should we permit it? A chorus of assent rumbled through the chamber. The door eye-rised open, and the Fenraki mother entered, her 3 cubs pressed close to her flanks. She moved with the fluid grace of a born hunter, but her ears were flat against her skull, a gesture Lyra had learned meant deep respect. She approached the medical platform and did something Lyra had never seen a Fenraki do. She lowered her head, exposing her throat, the ultimate sign of submission in a predator species. My cubs live because you broke every law of nature, she said, her translated voice thick with emotion. I froze. My instincts failed, but yours did not. And now my genetic line continues because a human chose to be illogical. The cubs broke away from their mother and approached Lyra, their eyes wide. The smallest one placed a tiny paw on Lyra's hand. Thank you, the cub whispered in halting standard. Thank you for being our shield. Lyra felt tears sting her eyes. You're welcome, little one. Varkos watched this exchange with all 4 eyes, and when he spoke again, his voice carried through every translator in the chamber. The Council has reached a decision. Humanity will be granted full membership status, not because of your technology, not because of your resources, but because the galaxy needs what you have. The ability to look at any young life and see something worth protecting, even at the cost of your own. He leaned close to Lyra one final time. We predators have ruled the stars through strength and cunning. Perhaps it is time we learned from a species that rules through something far more powerful. Compassion that defies all evolutionary logic. Lyra smiled through her tears as the cubs climbed carefully onto her medical platform, curling up against her sides like she was their own mother. "Welcome to humanity," she whispered.